Today is April 21st, 2025, and in this weather forecast, we're going to be talking about severe weather heading through this week, and then a return of significant severe weather at the end of April, and looking long range at the severe weather pattern and our pattern in general as we go into early May. So if you are new here, make sure to subscribe to my channel for the latest accurate, reliable weather information on YouTube. Like the video, give it a thumbs up, and share this video with friends, family, and on social media. I definitely appreciate it. Again, my name is Hunter, and we do daily weather forecast videos on this channel. This is your evening update. So let's look here at our severe weather heading into tomorrow on Tuesday, April 22nd. The Storm Prediction Center has a slight risk of severe weather across West Texas, including the Texas Panhandle, western Oklahoma, and southern Kansas, but a marginal risk extending all the way up into northern Illinois, Iowa, and southern Wisconsin. Also a marginal risk over here in North Carolina as well. Now going into Wednesday, April 23rd, the middle of this week, we have another slight risk in far west Texas, including parts of the southwestern Texas Panhandle, with a general marginal risk extending up in the dark green into portions of Colorado and the Front Range, into western and central portions of Nebraska, even southeastern Wyoming as well. And all hazards will be on the table here, damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes. Now let's look at our jet stream pattern as we go through the rest of this week, and it's going to be very zonal. And when I say zonal, it's from west to east across the United States, and we don't have any real big buckles in the jet stream, which means no synoptically driven severe weather, but more mesoscale severe weather events. And when we say mesoscale, we're talking smaller scale severe weather events that are more localized to your backyard rather than a widespread area. And that's exactly what we see as we go through the rest of this week. So let's zoom in, talk about tomorrow's severe weather risk on Tuesday, April 22nd. Areas at risk here include southern Kansas, western Oklahoma near El Reno, Elk City, Woodward, all the way back down here into Amarillo, Lubbock, and southward to Midland, Texas. But in the marginal risk, Des Moines, Kansas City, Chicago, Rockford, Illinois, you guys are all included in this. And this could include the threat for some damaging winds. So some 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. We could also be seeing those quarter-size hailstones, potentially a little bit larger down here toward Texas, maybe ping-pong ball size at times, and a localized tornado threat here across eastern New Mexico and West Texas. That's a 2% chance of tornadoes in the green within a 25-mile radius. So let's look at the storm energy. This is your CAPE, convective available potential energy. The higher the value, the higher the chance for thunderstorms, and the higher the chance for severe weather. So as we go through the day on Tuesday, notice the storm energy really starts to transport northward into the central United States, and notice these values even up into the Midwest are elevated, and that's going to give us the chance for thunderstorms and give us the chance for some severe weather. So let's talk about this here on a timeline. So as we go into start tomorrow, 7 o'clock in the morning, heading off to work, heading to school, we don't have much going on across the plains. We do have some warm air advection as a warm front is lifting up here into portions of the upper Midwest. So Minnesota, Wisconsin, eastern Iowa, maybe northern Illinois there, grazing you with some showers and a few rumbles of thunder. Some localized downpours will be possible with that activity, not really expecting severe weather. Now going into the midday hours, this is at noon, those will continue to lift northeast toward Lake Superior and eastward toward Lake Michigan. Those will be weakening as they push through the Badger State of Wisconsin and in towards Michigan. Still very quiet at the noon hour across the plains. And as we go into the afternoon, 3 o'clock, we're watching for initiation back here on the dry line and still waiting here at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon from Kansas southward into Oklahoma and even southward from there into Texas. And then by the time we get to the dinner time frame, 5, 6 o'clock, we're going to start to see initiation along the dry line here, Amarillo, Lubbock, southward to Midland, and some supercell thunderstorms, some slow-moving supercells, so very picturesque, probably with some nice wall clouds here. Rotating supercells potentially. A couple of these could produce tornadoes, but some large hail, damaging winds will also be in play. And then as we go into the evening and overnight hours, those will dwindle as they push toward Abilene and toward the Wichita Falls vicinity, never really making it to the Dallas-Fort Worth metro. But then we're watching warm frontal activity up here in Iowa into northern Illinois and northern Indiana. We could have a localized flash flooding threat up here as these storms move parallel to the boundary. So they're moving over the same areas repeatedly. This is mainly between between midnight and 6 a.m. up here into northern Illinois, eastern Iowa, and northern Indiana, and a localized severe weather threat with hail, wind, and a very low tornado threat, under 2% in those areas. Now, as we go into Wednesday, April 23rd, we have a slight risk again into West Texas with the marginal risk in dark green extending up into the front range of the Rockies, even in the western plains like the western Kansas, central and western portions there in Nebraska, including the Nebraska Panhandle, and southeastern portions of Wyoming there. And notice on Wednesday, we have plenty of storm energy, and that's just really going to continue throughout the week. We're just going to have a lot of storm energy out there Thursday, Friday, even heading into the opening stages of the weekend there on Saturday. And notice the jet stream the rest of the week, going to be very zonal, which we mean from west to east. No big synoptically driven severe weather outbreaks, more on a localized basis as we go through the rest of this week. And you can see that as we go into Wednesday here, notice you get those afternoon pop-up showers and thunderstorms, and then as the sun sets, radiational cooling. Remember, thunderstorms don't like cool air, so they're going to collapse, they're going to fall apart with intensity, fall apart with coverage as we go towards sunset and thereafter, and then we'll heat the ground again as we go into Thursday. We'll repeat the process Thursday with afternoon and evening showers and storms. A few of those could be severe, and then same deal as we go into Friday, although Friday we may see those storms a little bit further east toward the Ohio, Tennessee valleys and into the deep south. But nonetheless, we're going to be picking up some decent rains in the process, and a lot of these rains are in areas that need the rainfall. So this is beneficial rain for the plains, and especially down here into Kansas where it's been pretty dry. Could be seeing potentially upwards to 3-4 inches worth of rain here across Kansas, Oklahoma, and North Texas. Now, areas that don't need the rain are Arkansas, southern Missouri, western Tennessee. We could be seeing over an inch of rain, possibly up to 2 inches in some areas like Little Rock, Jonesboro, Memphis, up to Paducah. Those are areas that have very saturated soils, and we don't need the rainfall. Now, further north into the Midwest, Iowa, Des Moines, La Crosse there in Wisconsin, Green Bay, Rockford, Chicago, and Peoria. We could be seeing upwards to an inch of rain or so up there. That is some welcome news. Probably not for the farmers, but enough rainfall to kind of wet the ground up there and get some moisture down. That is some good news. Now let's look at our temperatures. Pretty spring-like throughout the week. Here were our highs today, and we actually achieved the low 90s once more in western portions of Florida today. Also 90s down here in southern Texas and Arizona, at 91 this afternoon in Phoenix. Now we are going to be warming up in the plains tomorrow, back into the 70s, low 80s here, mid 80s as well. Back down toward the Red River Valley in Texas, 90s again for Florida. And as we go into the middle of the week, Wednesday, record highs possible from the Big Bend of Florida down here into the west coast of Florida near Tampa Bay. That'll extend into Thursday as well down there, and Friday. So widespread 3 days in a row of some record highs down there on the west coast of Florida from Tampa Bay, the Big Bend area of Florida, all the way down to Fort Myers and Naples. Even some record highs in Mississippi and Alabama are possible there to close out the week on Friday, and that may even continue into Saturday, April 26th as well. Now let's go into the weekend and talk about our weather pattern. We have a big ridge of high pressure across the eastern United States, and this is going to give us a lot of sinking air. With a high pressure system, you get lots more sunshine and this time of year warmer conditions. Now look to the west. We turn our attention over to California here. We have a blue area showing up. That is a trough, and that trough is going to bring unsettled weather to the west coast first this weekend before moving out into the Four Corners on Sunday and into Monday, heading into the western plains, and this is going to cause some trouble. First and foremost is some warmer temperatures. We're going to be heating up in a big way, a little bit of drought feedback as well. So with drier ground, we're going to heat up more efficiently in the western plains and the southern plains. Where the trough is in California, Nevada, and Arizona, we're going to be below normal with our temperatures heading into the weekend on Saturday, April 26th and Sunday, April 27th, with a lot of cloud cover around and some precipitation. Now, this is something we need to watch, is our convective available potential energy, or storm energy for short, across the middle of the country, because we're going to have plenty of storm energy for the plains, especially latter half of the weekend there, more widespread toward the Dakotas on Sunday. And looking at this jet stream pattern, now we start to see buckles in the jet stream pattern for the weekend, right? You can see that on Saturday, April 26th, going into Saturday night, and then Sunday, April 27th, we see the nose of that 500 millibar, which is just 18,000 feet up above our heads, and the nose of that is going to create some wind shear across the plains. So we're going to have moisture, we're going to have instability instability. Now we're going to have wind shear. So we put those three ingredients to work, and we could be seeing some severe weather in the plains as we go into Saturday night and then again Sunday into Sunday night. And this could include all modes of severe weather. Damaging winds and hail should be the main risks here, but a couple of tornadoes will also be possible. So looking ahead to that time frame, as we head into the weekend, notice the severe weather more confined to the central high plains and then into the southern plains. So we're talking Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, maybe Arkansas and Louisiana, although some severe weather could extend northward into Nebraska and Iowa as well. Now, as we head in towards next week, we're going to be seeing a little bit different of a weather pattern. We're going to show you that here in a moment, but let's first look at our rainfall totals because it's going to be localized, but some areas could be winners here up toward the Dakotas, like South Dakota, Nebraska, and Minnesota. Could be winners with 2 inches of rain in a very dry area that's been up here. That would be some good news. Some areas could be losers, like portions of Iowa, where we cannot maybe see any rainfall from this upcoming weekend. And then more winners down here into Oklahoma and Texas, where we could actually see more beneficial rains in drier areas. Now, heading into next week, ahead of the system, we're going to be warming up almost to early summer-like temperatures here. Look at those record highs possible up there for portions of the central and eastern United States, and that'll close out the month there of April. But look at all the instability. This is your surface-based CAPE. This is your convective, available potential energy to close out the month, and it's plentiful, and it goes all the way to the U.S.-Canadian border. So there's going to be no short supply of instability for storms to work with, and it appears there's going to be a big trough that'll eject into the middle of the country, and it may take a couple of days for it to eject, but this is going to add another component to our severe weather ingredients. It's wind shear. So we're going to have moisture once more, we're going to have instability, and we're going to have wind shear. Those are three main ingredients for severe weather. So as we go into early next week, we could be looking at several rounds from the upper Midwest all the way down to the southern plains and Arklatex for severe weather there on Monday the 28th. Tuesday the 29th, even Wednesday the 30th there of May, and maybe even on Thursday into May 1st as well. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that. But overall, we're going to be seeing quite a bit of rainfall as we go through the rest of April here across the United States. In fact, going between now and Thursday, May 1st, look at all the areas in yellow, orange, and red here. That's at least 2 to 4 inches of rain with localized pockets of maybe 8 inches of rain here at most across portions of the central and southern plains toward the Arklatex region, and some of these areas honestly really don't need the rainfall. Now, looking here at the pattern as we go into early May, it looks like a ridge of high pressure is going to start to dominate the western and middle portion of the United States, with a little feature of a trough potentially across the eastern U.S. And typically when you have a ridge out west, it's going to shut down the severe weather threat here as we don't have any ejecting troughs, but it's going to warm us up. So we're going to see warmer air for California, Nevada, all the way up here to Wyoming, the Dakotas, and Montana again, and the southern Canadian prairies, where areas out east will be more near normal to slightly below normal with our temperatures for the first 7 days of May, and it's going to dry us out underneath the influence of that ridge. You have lots of sinking air. It's going to dry us out. Or underneath the ridge, we have to be watching out for heavier rain. So this could include not only for Texas, but South Texas, the Rio Grande Valley, the coastal Texas region in Louisiana, all the way across the Gulf Coast toward Florida. This could be an actually great pattern for Florida to get some beneficial moisture. I know it's been very dry down in Florida. This could be a great pattern for that. And then up the East Coast toward Maine, we could be seeing some wetter weather where underneath, again, that ridge, the Pacific Northwest, the northern plains into the Midwest, and really the heartland, the ag belt of the United States, getting pretty dry in the first week there of May. And here's your moisture. You can see down here in the southern portions of Texas, a couple inches of rain. Florida could get a couple inches of rain. Very beneficial rains for them. Georgia, same thing for you. And then all the way up here the East Coast towards Maine could be getting some localized heavier rains in the first week there of May. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like the video, give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel for the latest accurate and reliable weather information. And I'll see you all in the next update.